Well, hello and welcome to the Resolute Vault. My name is Brian Richards. I'm the CEO of Resolute Media. And the chances are you're probably watching this video on replay on a page that refers to the $1 Million Giveaway series. So what I'd like to do is move straight into our agenda for today, just to maximize your time with me. And so we'll go over to that page now. And the agenda that we have for this session together today, we can find here. So the first thing I'll do is provide an overview of the $1 Million Giveaway series, how it's come about, what I'm trying to do in this giveaway series for local Australian businesses. And then we'll come back and we'll explore this market X-ray technology. Now, this is brand new technology, which is why we're going to spend a few days on it this week. Just showing how significant the value is from something that hasn't been available before. So we'll come back to that, and as part of that, I'll show you 5 local niches that I've been collecting data for over the last week. And now we've got a full week of data. There's a bit to dig into together, and that'll highlight the benefit of this technology. We'll do an overview of niche 1, but then tomorrow on our day 2 live stream, we'll do a deep dive into niche 1. We'll look at competitors, AdWords, and so on, keywords, and so on. And so that's all to come. But before I do that, let's go back to our first item on the agenda, the overview of the $1 Million Giveaway series. So this series is a series of volumes. Each month, I'll be releasing a volume of digital service packages for local businesses. And what I'm endeavoring to do is ensure that enough local businesses access those packages to the tune of about $1 million, because for this volume 1, the collective value of these services is about $3,500. In fact, it's quite a lot more than that. That's US retail pricing. And I've been operating in the US market for 20 years. And so, you know, I've been using a number of these services over there, and I just didn't bother changing the retail pricing. And so really this should be $4,500 to $5,000 in our local market. But I've left all these values the same. So it's essentially understating the packages, but that's okay. That'll mean that more local businesses get the opportunity to access these items. Now, there is a public launch on the 3rd of May, but I am providing a way in the weeks before that to get access to volume 1. And that's to request further information on this first item here, the thank you gift number 1, or to come in at platinum level. And so we'll cover that in a moment. Most of these resources are in the conversion improvement space. So if you've got traffic coming to your website or some other digital online asset, a lot of these resources I'll be sharing with you are ways to almost immediately boost those conversion outcomes for you and increase your ROI on whatever it's taking to drive that traffic. There's also a fair sprinkling of authority marketing services, which you'll see immediately as we go down the page. So this is thank you gift number 1. As I said, we're going to spend more time on that today than anything. Thank you gift number 2 is an authority badge for your business website. Again, this is quite an innovation, and there's some detail here, although there's a fuller explanation in this masterclass. We've spent over 60 hours developing this masterclass. Many of the ideas that we share in here are based on 10 years of experience in this space, but much of it hasn't been revealed publicly before, certainly not in this masterclass format. And so a lot of it is right up to date using research data for 2022. And so there's quite a lot of value in just the information shared in here, but we're also going to share 2 proprietary strategy maps that we use to provide information around a lot of these concepts. Strategy maps are a very compelling way to do it, to get our thoughts together. And I'll be creating a strategy map on my platform here, StratMapper, for this live stream series this week. So once the series is complete, I'll be updating this strategy map and providing access to you, and it'll summarize not just the video replays, but also any resources to go with those sessions and so on. So that's coming. Now, let's move into volume 1 quickly. Volume 1 has 4 elements, and the first item not just an individual strategy map or 2 strategy maps. I'm actually going to give you a lifetime license to the strategy mapping software platform. So I've created a number of strategy maps in there, and you'll also be able to create your own. So having a lifetime license gives you full editing access to this powerful platform. We'll also have an authority scan, authority video, and authority monitoring. So all that's laid out here, and then we'll fulfill on each of these items that you request via the Resolute Vault. Now, the Resolute Vault looks like this. This is the fulfillment area. I won't go into this in a lot of detail today, but when you find your way in here, you'll be welcomed with a message. Then there'll be details about different levels of access, depending on whether you're coming in at gold or platinum, or even if you're not a gold or platinum subscriber. I've now created an area called the lab, which is where I'll be sharing information about our market X-ray and PPC POP services and a lot more. So that's where we're going to be spending some time today. And this is quite independent in some ways of whether or not you proceed, because this is more a thank you gift. As I said right at the beginning, thank you gift number 1. So there's an area for commentary in there, and we can start a dialogue because this is groundbreaking technology, just this element alone. But there's some platinum bonuses and so on. And then each of the volumes each month will be rolled out here for you. So that's the Resolute Vault. Then we've got details about how to access gold and platinum. And as I said, these become available publicly on the 3rd of May. But platinum subscribers always will get early guaranteed access before the public launch. And similarly, if you feel that you want to participate in our rolling out of this market X-ray technology in Australia, simply by requesting your own customized data, we'll also give you gold level access just for taking the time to request that. So any scan requests include immediate access to volume 1 as well. So that's a quick overview, a very quick overview of an extraordinary collection of powerful resources. Each of those elements in those packages we could spend 5 days on because they're very comprehensive tools and resources. But what I wanted to do today was to spend the remaining time we have together with thank you gift number 1. And that is simply for the fact that you've come to this page, you've stopped here for a moment, and now you're going to be having replays of these live streams made available to you, which is designed to reveal, to celebrate the availability now of this brand new market X-ray technology. So this is now, we've moved to agenda item number 2. And I just wanted to come on screen just for a moment and emphasize just how important this is. As I alluded to before, I've been involved with digital technology for well over 40 years. It's now closer to 50 years. That was my original training, electrical engineering and computer science. And so I've always had a fascination with digital technology, and I've loved applying digital technology in a practical way for businesses. And this is probably the most excited I've been in many, many, many years to have technology that has solved a problem that has been around for over 20 years. And I'll explain why in a moment. So let's just go back and start focusing on this market X-ray technology. First of all, I'll give you the summary, and then I'll flesh it out a little bit for you. So it's an Australian reveal. It's proprietary. There's no other tool anywhere in the marketplace. In fact, this technology was developed to solve an enormous problem, a big gap in the marketplace. And one of the principles behind it is that if you can't see the competition, you can't beat it. It's very difficult. And so what this technology offers is insight, access to real-time local competitive data. And I'll actually show you where some of this was derived from in some initial test studies only last year. And it's from around mid-year that the technology was developed and tested and proved extremely powerful, to the point now that we're rolling it out more broadly in a more public way. But essentially it came about through needing Google Ads intelligence. So Google advertisers are some of the biggest advertisers in the marketplace, from $1,000 a month to $10,000 to $100,000 to $1 million a month ad spend. Google advertisers are typically some of the largest advertisers, and therefore because those dollars involved, the need to get high quality data is imperative. There's a lot at stake, and the problem is any of the existing tools in the past just haven't been able to provide that data. So I'll say more about that in a moment. So initially this tool was developed to uncover this Google Ads information, but since then it's also evolved to be able to show Google Business Profile, Google My Business, in other words, as it just was before it changed, or Google Maps, the 3-pack, in other words, on search engine results pages. So this is stepping more into the organic space as opposed to the paid traffic over here. We can also show shopping ads for anyone who's got an e-com arm to their industry, or they are fully e-com. Every advertiser, every ad, and everything else. Now, we don't have local service ads in Australia yet. There's a lot of expectation about when they're going to arrive. These are Google guaranteed local service ads that are widely used in the US market. And so if and when they do arrive in Australia, then we'll be able to start showing that information as well from day one, unlike anyone else. So no one else can get even close to what this technology can reveal. And so just going down a little bit further, I was going to retain this as kind of an unannounced bonus inside here for the platinum subscribers, but I thought, no, it's just too valuable. It's too newsworthy, in other words, really, to hide it away inside the Resolute Vault. So that's why I'm doing this series of live streams, to share this just with anyone coming to this page, basically, because it really deserves to have a wider audience as quickly as possible. It's too valuable. And because the reasons, the benefits, I guess, that come out of the back of this quickly, and hopefully you'll see that as we go forward from today, is it's the only source of real-time search engine results data. The existing tools just don't even get close. In fact, they don't even get to 10% of the data. And we've shown that time and time again in our testing. We can target broadly at national level, or we can drill down to hyperlocal specificity. So if I wanted to target individual advertisers in my own postcode, and only in my own postcode, I can do that. I can compare results from desktop or mobile, because campaigns can have quite different performance characteristics depending on the device. We can shine a light on blind spots which exist for everyone else except those who have access to this technology. We can stop wasting ad spend on search terms that don't convert. We've got 142 million keywords in our proprietary database. And so across some of the more popular niches, we can immediately tell from that database which keywords have converted and which haven't. Or we can also do proprietary, customized analysis and reporting on an individual niche for an individual advertiser. So that allows us to uncover the high converting search terms, but it's equally important, if not more important, to know the non-converting keywords. And that's where immediate ad improvements in terms of campaign ROI can come about very, very quickly. And across our testing, we found an average of 31% improvement in cost per lead, reductions in 30 days or less in some cases. So that means you can grow your business rapidly without spending more money or even changing your agency. This is just new information that can be factored in very quickly and get these quite startling cost per lead reductions very, very quickly indeed. And then there is an opportunity here for you to receive a complimentary market X-ray scan report. I'll be showing you the results of 5 local niches I initiated a week ago. So we've got a week of data for them. But if you'd like me to do the same for you, there's the opportunity to make a request here. You just click the button, a form will pop up, give me 3 keywords, and your preferred location for those 3 keywords. And I'll run this for you in a customized way with personalized analysis and feedback over 2 days, and then I'll get that report back to you following that. And if you would like to do that, then that is where our conversation will start, because we've set up this dedicated area I just showed you inside Resolute Vault called the lab. There'll be more resources in there and the opportunity for us to start a commentary and for you to provide feedback if you feel so inclined. But in any case, I'll send the report to you with this customized analysis, and you'll have that available to you regardless. And just for going to that trouble, we'll also give you a gold level subscription. So this is the way that you can get immediate access to these resources down here, simply for requesting your own customized scan. And then if we use your sample scan results in an explainer video, that gives me actual data, in a niche of interest, and then we'll upgrade you to platinum for free for life, basically, with all bonuses and all extra inclusions, because that's extra educational resources I'll then have. So that's an additional thank you. And then there's a couple of quotes here I think are quite relevant. The ability to learn faster than competitors may be the only sustainable competitive advantage. Arie de Geus was a famous strategic planner at Shell, and I knew of him quite extensively because I did a bit of work at Shell running. They were actually the masters of strategic planning and business planning. They were acknowledged around the world as being the masters of business planning, and I was running business planning workshops for their executives here and throughout Southeast Asia. So anyway, that's just an aside. But this is quite a relevant quote. The ability to learn faster than competitors may be the only sustainable competitive advantage. And what this does is put us in the box seat for that, because we can now multiply the learning power of every ad dollar through having access to this this data, basically. So I'd like to move ahead now. Time is getting away. I'd like to reveal to you the 5 local niches that I've been collecting data for, and then we'll just have a quick dip into the data for one of these niches in a moment. Now, just before I do that, I just think it might be helpful to share with you some of the recent history behind this technology. So I'm just going to go over to one of my other websites here. This is the home page, and it goes through just a bit of background. I wanted to spend 2 or 3 minutes because I think you might find this interesting, is in terms of, I keep saying this filled a need, this filled a gap. Well, what was the gap and what was the need, and why is it so important, and why do I seem to be really going on and on about how much of an innovation this is? I think actually looking at figures, actual data will show that very, very clearly. So what makes us different? Well, all of the existing tools just haven't been able to do the job. It's never been very accurate for this particular purpose, particularly in the paid traffic space. Pretty strong for organic. And I've used all of these tools. I use Ahrefs. There's a number of other ones, but these are the main items. And last year we had a need to look into paid traffic, Google Ads, statistics and data, and we just couldn't get it. And so this is the first niche we'll look at: plumbing services in Las Vegas, a verified monthly ad spend of $12,000. And we knew there were 202 search terms clicked in the last 30 days. But here's what we saw. SpyFu showed 1.3, $1,300 monthly ad spend instead of 12,000, and 48 keywords instead of 202. So there's a huge gap. And so we knew there was something really, really wrong. And this issue goes back decades. Google Ads have been around for 22 years. And so it was only last year the problem was fixed, but this was the problem. If we look at SEMrush, it showed 0 and 0 instead of 12,200. And iSpionage showed 0 and 0 instead of 12,200. And so it's finally a listing tool, And there are more results. So I'm just going to look at those quickly. And this page, this is my main website, resolutemedia.co, contains these test data if you wanted to dig into this and have a look more closely. But let's go into this proof page, this second page. So we analysed 21 websites, 21 domains, 21 advertisers in 21 kind of niche location situations. And we knew for a fact they were spending collectively $214,000 on Google Ads every month, US dollars. And we found SEMrush, SpyFu, and iSpionage reporting 10% or less of the actual results. And you'll see an example of this. Now, we've looked at this first one, plumbing, on the previous page. I'll actually go down the left column and then come back to the right. So these are all local businesses, brick and mortar businesses in locations, local locations. The ones on the right are more national. Here's a Florida dentist search. We knew we had a verified monthly ad spend of 5,500, and there were 549 search terms clicked, and SpyFu showed 171 versus 5,000. SEMrush showed 0 and 0 again, and iSpionage showed $6 to $14 and 4 keywords instead of 5,500 and 500 keywords. Remodeling, window replacement, again in Florida, verified monthly ad spend $18,000, $2,000, 0 and 0, 0 and 0. So you can see the problem. You can't beat the competitors if you can't see them. These are national niches. Business-to-business loans, obviously a massive niche. 7,500 ad spend, 1,000 search terms, 1,000 keywords. SpyFu showed 2,000 for the monthly budget. SEMrush showed 0 and 0 again instead of 7,500 and 1,000. And iSpionage showed 0 and only 2 keywords instead of 7,500 and 1,000. An e-commerce application, 7,500 again, monthly ad spend, but 3,300 keywords, basically search terms, 600 estimated monthly budget, 0 and 6, and 0 and 4, instead of these enormous figures here. And then finally, education courses, $100,000 monthly ad spend, 7,900 almost search terms, should be able to see them, 5,000 estimated monthly budget, $500 instead of $100,000, and 152 versus 7,800, and 200 and 144. So less than 10%. My goodness. Yeah, that's the problem. That's why it's so significant. That's why you might be able to tell. I'm a little bit excited now to be able to share this with you. So let's come back to our main page. What I want to do now is reveal the 5 local niches that I've been collecting data for, and we'll have a look at one of them to get this kicked off for the week. So this is an inside look at our proprietary technology platform. The 5 niches I said I'd reveal. I'm looking at financial planners in Brisbane City. I live in Brisbane, so I've got a fair amount of local knowledge of different locations and so on. So I thought I'd start here in a niche that's highly regulated. And so unless you've got a compliance team, although all financial planners are subject to very heavy compliance from their licensee groups, nevertheless, it's an area that we would understand people might be just a little bit wary about advertising because there's a whole additional overlay of compliance that comes into the equation. We might expect to see more major players in a highly regulated industry like financial planning than perhaps a couple of other niches. Although having said that, I've got dentists here, and the Australian Dental Association are very conservative in how they allow dentists to market. So it's not that different in many ways. Another niche I'm looking at is cyber insurance. I've moved over more into the general insurance side here, commercial insurance, and particularly a topical item being cyber insurance. So I thought it might be interesting to see who the main players are in this niche. And then I thought, well, okay, I know dentists have got an e-com component. There are e-com advertisers in the market beyond the brick and mortar local dentists. Mobility scooters is a bit that way as well. You've got brick and mortar stores, but you've also got fairly strong e-com side of this industry. And then we'll have another look, and we've moved out of Brisbane now into Sydney and Melbourne. We'll have a look at roofing. Big ticket items, high value purchase prices, fairly significant budgets. So we should have a fair bit of data on each of these. So what I thought I'd do, that's the 5 niches. What I did, we've now completed our rounds. And so I might just look at this first cab off the rank here, financial planning. And then we'll move ahead tomorrow with cyber and dentists, and then we'll finish on Wednesday with mobility and roofing. And then on Thursday, we'll come back and see what we've learned about all this, and I'll reveal a few extra elements that we can access through this platform. But let's have a look at financial planners. Now, I've just alluded to the fact that I've been collecting data for about a week. Monday, week ago, I started collecting information on financial planners in Brisbane. The same thing with all of these 5 niches. And I'm collecting data each 3 hours, 24/7 basically. And that's why earlier today, I was able to complete this exercise. We got to the full set of data basically for the week on this 3-hour cycle. And so the first thing I just wanted to share with you, we won't dig into this today, that's for tomorrow, the deep dive, but immediately we can see how many advertisers we saw advertising in each of these time slots on each of these days. Remembering I only started this Monday afternoon a week ago. And so we immediately saw there were 3 advertisers. And then at 7 p.m, there were another 3. But interestingly, at 10 p.m, there were 7 advertisers on Monday night. So immediately, before we go any further, and there's a lot more to come, we immediately asked the question, okay, if these advertisers are advertising at 10 p.m. at night, do they have a way to convert those leads that might come in at that time? Are they simply collecting those leads and getting back to them the next day? Or, what is happening with them? Do they know they have advertising dollars going into 10 p.m. time slots, and probably through here as well? For an individual advertiser, we would look at this in a more granular way. But so that's interesting alone. But let's now look at Tuesday, when our first set of early morning data came in. 1 a.m. We've got 4 advertisers at 1 a.m. 8 here. 7 here, 8 here, 9 here on a Saturday at 1 a.m. It's interesting to say the least. 4 a.m, 10 advertisers, 7, 10, and so on. So I could keep going, but you can see we've got some interesting observations to make as we go forward from here. And here's Sundays and Mondays data just to round out the week. Similarly, we still see 1 a.m. advertisers, 10 advertisers there this morning at 1 a.m. There they are. 4 a.m. and again last night at 10 p.m. So that's what we call a heat map. It's a schedule view, and already we're starting to see things that at the very least not just give us information, but give us questions to ask about what is going on here. There's a few other elements we'll stop to look at here. So this is our advertiser table. For a highly regulated industry, there's a lot of advertisers. And what I'll do now, I'm not going to go into any individual advertiser. I'll just provide some initial overview comments, and then we'll have a much closer look tomorrow. Essentially, immediately we can see this is across the whole industry for financial planners. There are 40 competitors in this market, and that's quite typical. We've looked at a week only, but in this week, we've found there are 40 players, if you like, competing for an initial set of 10 keywords that I entered to get this data. There's a lot more keywords, enormous number of additional keywords that we could be looking at. I chose 10 that I thought would be representative of the niche. And immediately we found there are 40. Now, we would typically see 40 or 50 advertisers in a space. The highest number we've seen so far for one keyword in one location is 134. What we're looking at here is people who have competed for one or more of 10 keywords in one location. So yes, as I said, the maximum we've seen for one keyword in one location is 134. It's an extremely competitive market out there. And if you don't know who your competition is, how can you hope to beat them? You can't see them in your Google Ads Manager dashboard. We've seen the keywords being bid on have only been seen 27% of the time. I won't go into this in a lot more detail today. We'll see what that actually means in practice tomorrow. We've found 429 unique ads, ad extensions and phone extensions. Tomorrow, what I'll do, I'll show you where the battle is really being fought. It's not inside a Google Ads Manager account. It's actually on the search engine result page. We'll open up a search engine result page and we'll see where this is the battlefield. And we'll see why having data for what's happening where the battle is being conducted is far more valuable than the limited view we might see inside our Google Ads Manager account. That's like going inside your tent and having access to a very limited view of what's happening outside that tent on the battlefield itself, and that's the search engine result page. And this is where I'll be able to show you ad extensions and phone extensions out there in the wild, so that'll be more valuable. As expected, we're not seeing shopping ads for financial planners. It's not an e-com niche. The other niches, there will be e-com components that we find. We don't have local service ads in Australia yet. When we do, they'll pop up here. And then inline maps, there's a lot, 1,363. This is Google Business Profiles, it's called now, Google Maps, Google My Business, all the same thing, essentially. And a lot of Google My Business or Google Business Profile maps have been identified, which is good to see because that's the way to compete on an organic basis. But we'll dig into this in a bit more detail. I think because I'm feeling generous, I'll just give you a quick look. We won't analyze any of this. This is what we're looking at when we go into the ads area. We can see the competitive ads, the most commonly seen competitive ads in our searches. If you were trying to optimize your campaign, it might be of interest to you. This is notoriously hard to get, actually. You wouldn't think so, but it is. So here are the top seen ads. Keywords for Financial Planner Brisbane, 19 competitors, Financial Planner near me, 18, and so on. A whole lot of data here, and also we've got some related search terms that have been turned up. This is like a scout mode that goes out and finds other particularly useful keywords. Very useful information. Competitors. This is frequency, so Better Financial Planning has been seen 103 times, so they're certainly doing something well with their campaigns. No shopping, schedule view we've seen, no local service ads in maps. Fairly comprehensive data on the organic side here as well. Average position, sorry, numbers of reviews and so on. So we'll dig into all this in more detail tomorrow. So just coming back, I'll go back to the dashboard. So what we have ahead of us is tomorrow we'll do a deep dive. It'll probably be financial planners because we started this, although I might easily choose another niche. We could go to dentists instead for tomorrow. As long as we get through all the niches over the course of the week, that's fine. And so if we now go back to our main page, we've done an initial examination of niche 1, which was the first cab off the rank, financial planners. So we'll probably do a deep dive on that tomorrow, but I'll leave that decision for tomorrow. And then in terms of what's next, I think the most obvious what's next is if you find this of interest and value and you'd like to get your own customized market X-ray scan report, simply click on this button here and I'll be happy to do that for you. We'll run this this process over 2 days, so it gives us enough information to make some initial observations for you, but not wait a full week, to get those observations. And so quite often we've done this in our testing just for one keyword, but I'll do that for 3 keywords. So choose the 3 most important keywords to you that you'd like to get this information for in your preferred location. And as I said, you can do it citywide, nationwide, or you can come right down to an individual postcode. We also have areas, we can do, for example, north of Brisbane, south of Brisbane, and so on, because we're using Google's own targeting locales, to help with our targeting for this. So that brings us to the end of our agenda for today. I hope you found it of interest. I'd like to finish here because it's gone on long enough. But tomorrow what we'll do is give you more specifics about why this market X-ray technology is so valuable to you. And even if you're not a Google advertiser, just knowing who is in your marketplace, you'll already suspect who your main players are, the people who keep popping up in tenders or the people who keep popping up in quoting situations, or the person just down the road. What we found of interest in using this technology is that there are other advertisers in a lot of these marketplaces that aren't immediately obvious. They're not just down the road. So there's all kinds of revelations to come about through having this insight now for the first time. And as I mentioned earlier, if you can't see the competition, you can't beat it. And even using some of these excellent tools that we showed in our testing just earlier, they are magnificent tools for the job they do, just not for this. And so we now have the right tool for that job. And I'm looking forward to being able to assist you if you'd like to get that insight into your own niche with some analysis and commentary from me personally. I'll be doing that for the first number of requests, just to try and enhance the value for you as we go forward from here. So I'd invite you to join me again tomorrow when we do a deep dive into one of these niches, and we'll really start to see this motor, because some of the things that we can see immediately in looking at this data, you just kind of go, wow, it's just fantastic having that. And then I'll show you how to immediately turn that information, that insight, into ways to improve bottom lines within a matter of days or weeks. And we've got a 5-step process that we use for that. I'll share some of that with you tomorrow as well. And one of the most interesting things, I think, is showing you where the battle is actually being fought. And all of our local marketplaces are on that search engine result page, typically, when it comes to online traffic anyway. So look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and it should be a great session. See you then.